Hello, Lego over here, and we're back today on F1 2020. And as you can see, we're here at Suzuka in Japan for round 9 of the FOCC XRL Championship, and we're currently in qualifying right now. Last time out, we didn't have a very good race at all. We didn't score any points, and our championship rival, Aiden is Raiden, ended up claiming the win. So we closed the championship gap quite a lot, and we're going to try and claim pole position in this qualifying session and set ourselves up for a good race here. And as we head onto the start of our banker lap now, making sure we get a good exit before we activate the DRS and cross the start finish line to start our lap here. Heading down this straight, literally just a straight line, but into turn 1. Braking is quite difficult as you're turning the entire time. Short shift into 5th on exit. Head through here, not quite flat. Brake for that S corner. And then into this one, brake a bit more. Use the inside curb to rotate the car. And through Dunlop, not quite flat. If you try and take it flat out, you'll spin out. Into Degner 1 then. Just a slight lift, maximizing the track limits on exit. And the same thing for Degner 2. As we now head into the Dunlop hairpin. Braking is quite tricky as it's easy to go deep, but you have to use the slight banking to your advantage before you exit, and then head down this slight curve. Stay to the right side of the track to keep the line short, and into Spoon Curve, a very difficult set of corners here, and it seems like we haven't gotten it too wrong there. It's not bad. We're heading down this very long straight before 130R, a legendary corner on this track. Completely flat out in these cars before we head into the final chicane, using all of the curbs on both parts of the chicane before short shifting to 4th, keeping a short line through the final corner, and the lap is a 26.1, which isn't bad. My best banker lap during when I was practicing was a 25.9, so not bad. But as you can see, we're on our final flying lap here and heading through turn 2. There's been a bit of an incident, and we're forced to go off the track to avoid the cars in front of us. And once again, for the 3rd race in a row, we are blocked on one of our laps, and we're forced to back out once again in qualifying. But you can see that we did claim pole position, and now you can see the strategy and the race director. Most people on the softs, but one person, and that is Aiden is Raiden, is on the mediums as we're lining up on the grid. He is on the alternate strategy, but he did sacrifice that track position. So let's see how he does in this race as the 5 lights are on. And it's lights out and let's go racing here, and we don't get a poor start at all, but Disposable Stu gets a slightly better start. We're going to be side by side into turn 1, but we keep our foot in and we keep the position, and for once we've actually gotten a good start and we've managed to maintain position. So heading through the S section now on this first lap, you can imagine with such heavy fuel and a heavy car, the cars turn like a boat here. It's lots of understeer through that S section on the first lap. But Aiden is Raiden has retired from the session and the VSC has been deployed, and that's a huge event in this race because our championship rival has been involved in a crash here, and that means that he will not finish this race and he will not score any points here as the VSC is ending now. Quite a short one. You can see Aiden's car stopped all the way back there on the track map as it now has disappeared from the track. Aiden has left the session. Green flags are waving now, and that's a huge moment in this race, because that means if we win this race, we will gain 26 points or 25 points on Aiden in the championship, because he won't be able to score any points, obviously, as we're heading through this final chicane. So yeah, huge event there on that first lap, and that was quite an eventful first lap for the midfield and the back of the field there. But we were able to stay out of any incidents, and starting the second lap now, we have a comfortable gap for the lead. Our gap is 1.7 seconds, to the car behind as we're heading through the S section now. Slight amount of brakes, just like in qualifying. And then the yellow flag's behind us actually, and Disposable Stu has spun off the track. And I can confirm that that wasn't an incident with anybody. He just spun at Dunlop, which is easy to do. Or, not Dunlop. He spun at one of the S corners, which is easy to do at Suzuka as we're exiting the Dunlop hairpin. But, yeah. So, he is quite far back now, as he had to wait for all the other cars to pass by before he could safely rejoin. So he's quite far back now, and he won't be challenging for the win, I assume, after he's that far back. But as we're heading down this straight now, we set a purple first sector and a purple second sector, and heading into the final chicane, we're looking to finish off this lap pretty nicely so that we can claim the fastest lap here, exiting the final chicane up to the line, and it is currently the fastest lap. We'll have to see what the guys behind do, but that is a pretty good race lap, and we did manage to keep it, in fact, as we cut onto the end of lap 4, about to start lap 5 in this race. Heading down the main straight now, still haven't had DRS whatsoever in this race, but the VSC has been deployed once again, and Red Rex this time has retired from the session at the S section, so that S section proving deadly for some of the drivers, as the VSC is now ending here as we're about to head into the hairpin, and we lift off slightly just to make sure we don't speed under VSC, because that will give you a drive-through penalty and ruin your race pretty much. But as we've returned to racing speed now, there's yellow flag somewhere, not sure why or where, but we're heading through Spoon Curve, and we take it pretty nicely on that occasion. And you can see, as we just confirmed to actually box this lap, because look at the gap behind us, 14.9 seconds, as everyone behind us was just fighting so hard for position, and they lost so much time with all that battling and all of those incidents. So as we head out of the final chicane now, we're going to head into the pit lane for hopefully our one and only stop here. We go into neutral for a second, definitely what all the pros do. And the pit stop is pretty nice, 2.6 seconds, as it always is in an online race, as we're heading down the pit lane now, and we're going to see where we come out. And you can see Kimi has also decided to come into the pit lane and react to our decision, and a couple of cars, well, a lot of cars are going to stay out, and we're going to come out just behind our teammate. So we're going to have to try and pass both our teammate and the car ahead of Perez, both AI cars, so we're going to be careful making these moves, as the AI can be quite sketchy sometimes, especially in an online session. But we're heading out of Dunlop now, taking it so easy, as I said, and into Degner 1, complete lift into Degner 2, braking very early, just to set up a move somewhere on this lap. So we're not rushing this move at all, as the two ahead do have to make their pit stop, and so do all of the cars behind us, as we're heading through this little curved section here, and we're still just 3/10 behind our teammate as we head into Spoon Curve. And this out of Spoon Curve is where we're going to try and make the move. We're using Rich Mix. Our teammate has a big snap of oversteer, and we use the overtake button, and we are now alongside our teammate here. But into 130R, we're going to be side by side, and we keep the move, or we just about get ahead of our teammate. We keep our foot in for that move, and we get the move done. And now up ahead of us, we have Perez. We did not get the DRS there because we were just about outside of 1 second from the car ahead after overtaking our teammate Bottas. But heading through turn 2 now, we go slightly wide, as it's very difficult to follow another car because of dirty air, especially at a track like this where there's so many high speed and flowing corners. But heading through the S section, we have a little look around the outside, but we're not close enough to make the move stick. And now heading into Degner 1, complete lift again, and Degner 2 we're taking it easy, just like we did on the previous lap with our teammate. Now heading into the Dunlop hairpin, and we have a look around the outside actually of Perez up ahead of us. We're unable to keep that move working there, but heading down this curve, and Perez covers off a move to go down the inside at Spoon Curve, so we have to back out of that one. And heading through Spoon Curve now, and out of Spoon Curve, and we're going to use the ERS and the rich fuel mix, and we're going to draw alongside Perez just about, and into 130R. We're going to be side by side once again, and Perez lags a bit and ends up ghosting inside of us, so we get the move done pretty easily there after he did ghost. So now heading on to lap 8 of this race, we are once again in the lead as Perez makes his pit stop, and we're just going to try and maintain this gap till the end of the race as we're heading out of turn 2. And actually, I think we're going to stay on board for this lap, because I believe this is our fastest lap attempt. I know we already have the fastest lap, but we're just trying to improve on it as we're heading out of Dunlop using all of the track into Degner 1. We use a little bit of overtake. We set a purple first sector using all of the track, and we actually lock up into Degner 2, which is not ideal because we lost a little bit of time through there. But into the Dunlop hairpin, we do take it pretty nicely. We got the line just right there, and now using the overtake button down this little curved section, and now into Spoon. And as I said in qualifying, it's a very tricky set of corners, and in the race the balance through those two corners did not feel particularly great. Sometimes we were getting oversteer, sometimes we were getting understeer, so that was something we had to manage during this race. But heading through 130R easy flat, as I said in quali, and then into the final chicane using all of the inside curb on both parts of the chicane, making sure not to get a warning and keeping a short line. And let's see what the lap is. It is just about an improvement, and the new fastest lap is 1:29.1 after we improved by half a tenth. But we're going to cut on to the end of the final lap now, and that's really all that happened here. We led every single lap of this race except for the one we pitted and the one after that, but the checkered flag waves, and after a bad race in Italy we claim a victory in Japan. So pretty much a perfect race here, so I'm definitely pretty happy with that. As we finish P1, Carlos Sainz gets driver of the day, and yeah, as I said, pretty good race. As you can see the podium celebrations now, Kimi ends up finishing in P2, and Sergio Perez ends up P3, AI car, obviously. And you can see the podium celebrations now. Overall, a perfectly managed race, and we were able to keep it clear from any incidents, as you can see the race results now. And yeah, overall, quite a good race. But that's going to be it for today's video. If you did enjoy it, make sure to leave a like and subscribe, as I post F1 content Sundays, Tuesdays, and Thursdays, so make sure to stay tuned. Tuesday, we have XRS at Canada, and that was quite a crazy race, so make sure to stay tuned for that. Thursday, we have a Japan track guide, so make sure to stay tuned for that as well. But thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.